If you think you want to be a bodybuilder, here's experiences that I've received after my last show. So when you start this whole process, steroids are always the top of the list for a lot of people. And they feel that you need to take everything under the sun or throw the kitchen sink at your prep. Myself, I like to start prep around 22 to 20 weeks out to give myself a long duration so I can properly, or I should say, I think properly, get into contest shape. So when we start around 20 weeks out, let's just say, we're running dosages that could be anywhere from 500 in total milligrams to 1500 in total milligrams. For some of you, that might be a lot. For some of you, that might be a little. It's all personal experience. When we move into around 12 to 10 weeks out, that's when things get kicked up. Now, when you're about 20 weeks out, your diet should be probably at its highest peak throughout the off season, getting into prep, due to the fact that you've been doing everything possible to get to that certain calorie intake to start prepping down and getting lean for your show. Now, there's going to be a huge decrease within actual calories. Don't try to pull everything right off the bat. Also, the thing you need to learn, the thing that I've learned, is that I got a little too fat in my personal experience this year, so I had to pull about 48 pounds off to get into contest shape. I believe that's a little too much, and I believe that's a little too much for anyone that's more experienced. If you're a newbie, you got to put the weight on to put the size on. So, getting into around 12 weeks out, this is where the drugs, in my opinion, go up a little bit. This is where the food starts to really come down. Cardio at that point starts to become a very interesting tool, because if you're doing too much in the beginning, you might need to do more at the end to get leaner and leaner. So we've moved into the 12-week mark, and I have some notes here, so I'm gonna kind of pull on that. The drugs were around 2,000 at that point. We're taking things which were oral and injectable. My cardio was pretty good at that point. We didn't push cardio too hard. One of the things that I have a struggle with is knowing when to pull back and push forward. I'll continue to push down and draw myself into this category where it seems very taxing to the body, and your body looks very emaciated in a sense. So when we got around 6 weeks out, that's when prep hit me. Mentally, you have to pull through. There were some things that I used this year, like SLU, methylene blue, to help cognitive function. Of course, thyroid's in the play. My anabolics went up to around 2,500 around 6 weeks out, and we continued to push. Food went down to around 230 carbs a day, 40 grams of fat, and about 330 grams of protein. So that was the training day. My low days were around 50 carbs to 100 carbs, and everything else stayed the same. I guess the whole entail of this video is what experiences did I really learn? Well, I learned that I don't want to get too fat this year. Getting too fat is going to be the result of having too much insulin resistance, doing a lot of cardio, and what did you really gain in your off season? So number one is try to stay a little leaner in the off season and gain quality muscle. Number two, drugs and protocols. I used DMP in my last preps. I did not use it in this prep, and I got into better shape. So using certain drugs you don't need just to take them, just to take them. Be careful what you take and know that it works for you. So number two would be careful what you take on drugs, and you don't have to run a bunch of shit. Number three would be fatigue management. Fatigue management is a huge part within my whole prep, because like I said, I like to push myself. And since I had Steph as a coach, she pulled me back a lot of the times and say, hey, you need a rest day, or hey, do this or do that. So fatigue management would be my third. Number four would be training. Your training performance is going to go down. That's just how it is. So understanding that mentally, if you can handle that, keep the intensity going, bear down on the weight a little bit. Don't worry about trying to keep your 315 or 405. Bring it down a tad, but keep the intensity. So that'd be my fourth. My fifth would be this. Do it for you. Do it for the love of it, and understand why you're doing it. The outcome might not always be what you want. Unfortunately, we're in a subjective sport, so you're subjected to 6 people's opinions. So if you can go off of the fifth element of this whole thing, is do it for you, do it for the love, remember why you got into it, and bring the package that you want to bring. It doesn't matter what 6 people want you to look like. It doesn't matter what C-Bum looks like or the top guys or these or that. It matters what you want to be. So understanding why you're doing it and doing it for yourself is a huge thing. Listen, if you don't want to get lean enough and you feel like that's your best physique, then that's fine. As long as you're happy at the end of the day. We all want to win. Sometimes it's not the result that we want. But as long as you can look at your picture and say, I did everything possible to bring my best and I love that look, then you've won. Unfortunately, if you don't go home with the overall like I did, there's some moments where you'll have some thoughts. But those are my top 5 things I've learned from my last experience. Hopefully this helps you in your journey. If you have any questions, comment below, like, subscribe, do whatever you got to do for you to get this algorithm going, and see you next time.